I'm James Spann. This is the morning edition of the Weather Xtreme video. This is for Friday, 25th day of June, getting set to cruise into the weekend. We think the rain chances slowly creep up. Heat levels slowly come down, and the tropics are active. Let's look out the window at the ridiculous hour of 5 o'clock. That's coming from Jasper, top of the King building, looking back off to the east. Some clouds around. Sun getting ready to come up there. Go down to Lee County. Nice shot there coming from Opelika. The sky mostly fair. And the Birmingham camera looking south from the Daniel building back over toward Red Mountain. The heat ridge is still in place. A little weaker today, just a little bit. The core of the westerlies are near the Canadian border. Down at the surface, a surface front. Notice we never call them cold fronts in summer. That's not really a good term. They're just surface boundaries. The dew points are typically a tad lower behind them, and that's going nowhere. In fact, if anything, it'll back up, dissipate. This one's not going to push through here, but just maybe with that thing being so close, it will give us a little bump in showers today. In fact, look at the radar at 5:05. A few little showers out there over Fayette, Walker, Cullman counties to start the day. So perhaps if we've got some rain on the radar at this hour of the day, we'll see a little more during the daytime heating process later. Watch warning map, things are pretty quiet this morning. Just see a few flood issues way up north. Moderate risk up there. Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota is involved in that. Surrounding that, a slight risk. And also a risk for parts of the Carolinas today. Tomorrow, a large risk up north. And on day 3, which is Sunday, a slight risk for cities like Indianapolis, Detroit, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and Buffalo. Rain for the next 5 days. QPF chart. This is valid through Tuesday evening at 7 o'clock. And the tropical situation will have a lot to do with the QPF placement. The guys at HPC that make this map, they are buying more into the solution that takes a tropical system northeast up toward Florida. With the heaviest rains east of a line from Pensacola to Macon up to Cape Hatteras. And that is a definite possibility. In fact, let's just take a look at this thing. The NHC guys now have a high probability of this thing becoming a tropical depression, and it seems like it's going to get its act together at a lower latitude. There's a look at the IR shot of the Caribbean. Still, it's disorganized, but again, with warm water and lighter winds aloft, it would seem like the door is open. But instead of developing closer to the Yucatan Channel, this is lower in latitude, which means it's going to have to cross the Yucatan Peninsula, which is good in one regard, and that it will, this thing's going to have a hard time getting its act together, obviously, with that interaction with land. The modeling set, more and more, the models are beginning to latch on to the idea of this thing recurving into the westerlies with a trough forming over the eastern U.S. early next week. That idea of that northeast turn seems more and more likely. And again, if let's say if it follows that GFDL track coming into Apalachicola, comes up through Georgia and the Carolinas, that would put Alabama on the dry side. Remember, the moist side is the east side. That would really wet down much of the Florida peninsula, but we would have a northerly flow, and that would kind of keep us dry. In terms of the intensity, most all of the models keep this thing as a tropical storm. Remember, most of the early season systems are not big hurricanes. They're tropical storms. If they do become a hurricane, they're minimal. So more than likely, the main impact will be from heavy rain and potential flooding inland, wherever this thing happens to go. And we don't know that yet. We're just looking at models here. A tropical storm interaction with the oil slick, more than likely, if it stays a tropical storm, it would not be a major impact. There would not be a big storm surge inland. And again, it all depends on the placement, as we've talked about many times here. We'll look at the WRF. It's got the thing as a weak tropical storm south of Apalachicola. And that would be the night of Tuesday night of next week. Look at the GFDL. Has a stronger tropical storm south of Panama City. And again, the same deal. That would be Monday night. So it's a little faster. Now, the Canadian says, wait a minute, that's not right. This thing's going into Mexico, just south of Brownsville, Texas. Talk about a slight discrepancy there. And the European, by golly, does the same thing. It's got it moving in just below Brownsville. Both the Canadian and the European are identical. So, again, there's a lot of spread out there. But more than likely, we're very confident that a tropical storm will be in the Gulf this weekend. I believe, based on what you're going to see with the GFS, the GFDL solution is more reasonable. It gets hung up in the trough and moves northeast. Let's take a look at the GFS. This is the OZ run valid at 1 o'clock today at 500 millibars. And again, we've got ridging here. And down below that surface boundary is just north of us, we think, with a slightly weaker ridge. The temperatures aloft just a degree or two colder Celsius. Surface boundary with some convergence. There should be a little increase in showers and storms later today. Not going to rain everywhere, but there'll be some out there. Tomorrow, the front weakens and just fizzles out. We'll be in a fairly moist air mass, so I'll mention a chance of scattered, mostly afternoon showers and storms. Sunday, notice how the GFS kind of pulls the tropical moisture. It's over the Yucatan, that lower pressure down there, but the moisture begins to feed north. Got a pretty good moisture axis here, so again, we'll mention scattered showers and storms. And Monday, you can see the trough beginning to develop over the east, with the higher amplitude flow getting its act together up there. And down at the surface, the GFS does not have any well-defined tropical system, just a mass of moisture down there in the Gulf. But clearly, it does not move it toward Mexico. Alabama's in a very moist air mass, and with the trough and the approaching front, that could be a day with a good chance of showers and storms. And Tuesday, and again, there's no well-defined surface feature there. The GFS does depict a surface low around Augusta, Georgia. And could that be the wave? It could be. But again, you clearly see the GFS wants to pull that thing northeast. We got a surface boundary that would be located near the Tennessee Valley, so we'll mention a chance of showers and storms. And Wednesday, that's a nice-looking trough over the east. And we're into dry continental air. Surface low that might be our tropical system is actually east of Atlantic City in the Atlantic, moving northeast, hung up in the westerlies in the trough. And Thursday of next week, dry continental air, cooler nights, lower humidity. Doesn't that sound good? And a week from today, we stay in dry air. So I'm beginning to buy into the idea that this will be a tropical storm, not a hurricane. I think the idea of it being curving northeast into the westerlies, maybe affecting the Florida Peninsula mainly with heavy rain, is a good thing. And I do think we're going to get into dry air for the latter half of next week. We'll play it that way in the forecast. But, hey, with a tropical system, anything goes. That all could change. Let's check the end of the forecast on July 10th. Ridging, 594 heights are showing up across the deep south, and that looks kind of soupy, very typical midsummer weather out there. That's it for the Weather Xtreme video today. We'll have notes on the blog, the next video here by 3:30 or so today. And if you're local to us, we invite you to watch us on television this evening, ABC 3340 in Birmingham at 5, 6, and 10. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and God bless.